Election Day in America, the balance of power on the line, across the nation, and here at home. Now the people cast their votes, and we discover the direction of our country and our state. This is a special Your Voice, Your Future edition of Channel 7 News.
Good evening, Arkansans making their voices heard during this year's midterm elections. Locally, voters making decisions on races for governor, congressional seats, and issues deciding minimum wage and casinos here in Arkansas.
7 is on your side tonight. We are telling you everything that is happening locally, statewide, as well as nationally. Our reporters are fanned out across the state tonight. We have our political experts here as well. Everything you need to know from this year's midterm elections. We will start off, though, tonight with one of the marquee races that remains undecided at this hour, and that is the race for mayor of Little Rock. And we've got some updated numbers.
We do. They are coming in as we speak, and the latest numbers that we saw were Baker Curris in the lead with 33% of the vote, I believe. Warwick Sabin and Frank Scott Jr. getting 31% of the vote, and that just flipped because Frank Scott did have 33%. So this is coming down to the wire.
There are those numbers right there, and of course the magic number tonight is 40%. One of these candidates needs that in order to avoid a two-candidate runoff. At this hour, though, that's looking pretty unlikely. Let's check in with the candidates. We have reporters at all 3 of their watch parties tonight. We'll begin with our Shelby Rose. She is with the Baker Curris campaign. They are at Cajun's Wharf. And Shelby, it looks like Baker Curris's numbers right now looking pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time tonight that we have seen that Baker is in the lead. We've had a few updates saying that with the early voting numbers, Scott in the lead, and another update with Scott still barely in the lead. This is a race that is just getting down to the wire, both within all 3 candidates within the early 30s range right now. You know, we're at Baker's watch party right now at Cajun's Wharf, and everyone is just eagerly anticipating, waiting for these numbers to come in with these precincts reporting coming in. And so, yeah, and you can start to hear them really getting excited. This may come to a runoff. We'll see if anyone can pull in to get that 40% of the vote needed to get to that mayoral race. But for now, I'm going to send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thanks a lot. And we want to go now to Nick Popham. He is live tonight at Sticky Fingers in the River Market covering the Warwick Sabin watch party. Nick, how are things there?
Beth, the mood has kind of fluctuated as the nights progressed. There's been a lot of excitement for when they found out that the House was able to take control, or the Democrats rather were able to take control of the House. That's according to CNN and ABC News that we've been watching here. But then also they've been paying attention to some of the smaller TVs that have Channel 7 on them, as we've been posting those numbers like we were talking about, how Baker Curris has 33% of that vote right now as votes are still being tabulated. So they're still waiting on pins and needles, trying to see what the final vote will be, if there will be a runoff, and if Mr. Sabin will be a part of that runoff. He has still not made his way to his watch party. We've seen it kind of clear out a little bit. It was packed just minutes ago, and now it seemed to clear out a little bit, maybe going to either different parties or heading home for the night. But still a little bit of electricity in this atmosphere as we try to find out who takes home this mayoral race. Chris, we'll send it back to you.
Okay, Nick Popham for us at Sticky Fingers in the River Market District. Nick, thanks so much. Again, it looks like a runoff looms in the mayor's race, but who will be a part of that runoff? Let's go to our Kayla Lafferty. She is with the campaign of Frank Scott Jr. at the Copper Grill here in downtown Little Rock. Kayla?
Hey, thank you, Chris. That is right. We are at the Copper Grill. So it looks like Frank Scott Jr. has lost the lead in this race so far. That has not changed the energy here at the Copper Grill at all. There are still dozens of his supporters here, excited, listening to music, dancing, having fun, and supporting their candidate. He did come out briefly to speak to the crowd. He spoke for about a minute or so, saying that he's still confident that he can come through with the win. He says they only need about 12,000 votes to pull off this win, and there's still over 20,000 votes being counted as of about 10 minutes or so ago. So he is still hopeful, but he says he's also ready if that runoff election does end up happening. But we've been here all night long. The energy has not changed at all. People are still really positive at this time. But for now, I will send it back to you, Chris and Bev.
Okay, Caitlin Lafferty for us at Copper Grill. Again, the latest numbers from the Little Rock mayor's race. Baker Curris at 33%, Frank Scott Jr. at 31%, Warwick Sabin at 31% as well. So that's a race we're going to continue watching probably late into tonight.
We knew it would be a close one, didn't we? All right, we have some other mayoral races here across the state to let you know about. That's what we're hearing. So let's go ahead and show those numbers if we can. And waiting for those to pop up. There we go. Jacksonville mayor. Looks like Bob Johnson there with 50% of the vote. Patrick Thomas with 28% and Deborah Fulton with 21%.
Well, the other big race, let's go to the mayor of Maumelle. City Attorney Caleb Norris there at 53% right now. Roger Herod at 37%, and Leticia Sanders, who was a gubernatorial hopeful in the Democratic primary, at 10%. That in the race for Maumelle mayor. Now let's talk about the other big outstanding race there, and that is the race for the 2nd District congressional seat, French Hill and Clark Tucker.
That's right. Our Matt Mershon has been covering the Tucker campaign, and he joins us now from downtown Little Rock, the Lafayette building. Matt, how's the mood there?
Hey guys, it is loud. That's why I'm putting my hand up to my ear just so I can hear you guys. It is a raucous party here because people are waiting on pins and needles. We still have not called this race yet, even though it does appear to be in favor of Representative Hill, the incumbent Republican. But to talk to me, to break this all down, Will Bond, state senator from Little Rock, former DPA chairman. What are we thinking right now?
Well, we're just waiting on the numbers from Pulaski County to roll in. Clark's running an incredible race, meeting voters face to face, talking about health care particularly and the issues that face us all every day. So we're very proud of the race he's run, and we're just waiting on the final numbers to come in, particularly from Pulaski County.
Well, obviously, that's got to be where we need those numbers for this race here. I mean, Faulkner County, Saline County, obviously going red this year.
Well, it looks that way, and that's been an issue in the past, of course. So we just got to sit tight, hold on, and like I said, we're very proud of Clark and the entire Tucker campaign team. They ran an incredible, courageous, and decent race, and we're still very hopeful tonight.
Your final thoughts?
Well, turnout's up, it looks like, which is a good thing. I still think it's very important to get out like Clark did and meet voters face-to-face and talk to them about the issues, and making sure that health care and everybody's pre-existing conditions are covered is a huge issue that he highlighted. And like I said, we're still hopeful, and we're proud of Clark and the entire Tucker team.
State Senator Will Bond, thank you so much for being with us tonight. As we mentioned, we are still waiting here on pins and needles for this race to be called. We're obviously still waiting to see those final numbers come in from Pulaski County. For now, we're live at the Lafayette building in downtown Little Rock. We'll send it back to you.
Okay, Matt Mershon for us tonight. Matt, thanks a lot. And I think we have some new numbers for this race, the District 2 race. French Hill with 54% of the vote so far. Clark Tucker with 44%.
That's the biggest lead of the night we have seen by far for Congressman French Hill. A lot of the networks projecting at this hour that the Democrats are going to take control of the House. Still, this would be a huge pickup for them if Clark Tucker was able to turn this around as these final numbers come in. Let's check in with his campaign. Our Maureen Glisovic is with them tonight, or is with the campaign of French Hill, rather, out at the Embassy Suites in West Little Rock. Maureen, with a 10-point lead after 10 o'clock at night on election night, you got to be feeling pretty good.
Well, you know, the party has died down a little bit, but just as you guys started bringing up those new numbers here on the air, we heard a little bit of cheering out there in the crowd. We have not spotted Congressman French Hill the entire evening at the Republican Watch Party. In fact, you know, I wasn't quite sure how many people would still be around to hear his acceptance speech if that were to be the case for that campaign. So, you know, it's been great. We've heard from a lot of the folks here, pretty much every single
candidate that's been at this watch party, from the Attorney General all the way to the governor. We've heard from them all, and we have yet to see or hear from French Hill. Obviously, it was a tight race this entire evening, so it wasn't unexpected that we didn't see French Hill walking around. But, you know, like I said, I'm hearing a couple of cheers here and there, some low cheers, not as many people here, you know, when it's past 10 o'clock at this point. But, you know, we will be sticking around and we'll bring you the latest if and when that race is eventually called. Back to you.
Eventually it will be. It's just a matter of when. Maureen Glisovic for us out in West Little Rock with the French Hill campaign. Again, we'll be keeping our eye on that well into the night. Yeah. We'll let you know just as soon as we're ready to make a call on it.
All right. Well, now to the governor's race. That race being declared just moments after the polls closed tonight across the state. Incumbent Asa Hutchinson winning re-election over his Democratic challenger, Jared Henderson.
Our Stephanie Bennett has been with the Henderson campaign. She joins us now. Actually, let's go first to the winner. Jason Peterson is with the Hutchinson campaign. They too standing by at the Embassy Suites Hotel. And Jason, this was an early call. It looks like that place is cleared out.
Yeah, and if French Hill gives a victory speech, like Maureen was saying, there won't be a lot of people left to hear it. But they've heard plenty of victory speeches here tonight. If you like success, this was a great watch party to be at. If you like 70s and 80s rock music, this was a great watch party to be at. If you like drama, not so much. It has been well over 2 hours since Governor Hutchinson went to the podium and accepted victory and gave his victory speech to his supporters tonight. During that speech, I believe we have a clip. He referenced the historic significance of this victory.
If you look back in history, I'm the only second Republican governor to win a second four-year term. And so this is a moment to enjoy. And so tonight, the voters have affirmed our accomplishments, our goals, and vision for Arkansas.
So that was the first of many victory speeches here tonight. As Maureen mentioned, Arkansas has 7 constitutional officers. All 7 of those spots have been held by Republicans here tonight. All 7 gave a speech. There's only one speech we're waiting for here at Republican Watch Party, and that is Congressman French Hill.
And no doubt about it, it has been a red wave in the state of Arkansas, as many of us expected tonight. Jason Peterson, thanks so much.
Yeah, the governor spoke earlier about how gracious Jared Henderson was in his phone call to concede that race. Our Stephanie Bennett has been out at the Jared Henderson watch party all night. She joins us now with reaction from what's going on there.
Well, Chris and Beth, it was definitely a night full of emotion here at Jared Henderson's watch party. Of course, as we know, he did not win, but he does tell me he is remaining optimistic and hopeful for the future. He also said in his concession speech that he is grateful for every single one of his supporters. Now, our cameras were rolling during that concession speech. He even got emotional as he was thanking everyone in the room, his family, his friends, his supporters, and his campaign team. He says it wasn't easy. He says he knew this race was already an uphill battle from the get-go, but that he's passionate about specific issues like improving public education, making healthcare more affordable for Arkansans. And he says even though this wasn't the outcome he would have liked, he's grateful for the experience.
We can have that future in this state and in this country. The one thing it requires is for all of us to work together, all of us to not give up, to keep fighting for what we believe in, and to believe that this better future is possible. I am so honored to be here with you all tonight, to have run this race this year. I'm so thankful for all the new friends that I've made, and I cannot wait, after a good break and some rest, to continue fighting for the future that we all know can and should occur in this state and this country. Thank you all so much for being here.
As you can see, he's just had a wonderful attitude throughout this whole event, this whole process. Now, he did tell me that this definitely isn't the end of his journey as far as working toward public service, so we'll definitely have to keep our eyes peeled for what's to come in the future. Beth?
Okay, Stephanie Bennett reporting live for us tonight. Stephanie, thank you. And we have a look at some of the other races that have been called tonight. In the race for Secretary of State, John Thurston wins, defeating Susan Inman and Christopher Olson. Tim Griffin is reelected as Lieutenant Governor, and he was reelected over Dr. Anthony Bland and Libertarian Frank Gilbert. Andrea Lee has won the race for auditor here in Arkansas. It's her second term. She defeated Libertarian David Dinwiddie.
And finally, Leslie Rutledge wins a second term as Arkansas Attorney General tonight, topping Democrat Mike Lee and Libertarian Carrie Hicks. We heard from the newly elected Attorney General a little bit earlier tonight. Let's take a listen to what Leslie Rutledge had to say.
Tonight, let's commit to make Arkansas the first and finest state in the nation. And thank you. And as I have told you all before, I am a Christian, pro-life, gun-carrying, conservative mama. And I will always defend our families, our faith, and freedom.
Okay, so there she is, Leslie Rutledge, 4 more years as Arkansas Attorney General, and we'll see what's next for her. A potential gubernatorial run might be in her future. We'll have to see what happens down the line.
All right, well, several issues Arkansas voters were deciding today.
That's right. 2 of those have been called as of this hour. We'll begin with issue 2, which of course would make the voter ID law a part of the Constitution. Voters approving that tonight handily. Voters also considering issue 5, an increase of the state's minimum wage.
That's right, but the biggest issue facing voters was issue 4, the casino amendment. Our Zach Briggs covering that issue tonight at the Capitol Hotel. Zach?
Well, guys, it's been a tough one here. They've been monitoring the numbers as over the past couple hours, and so far 53% have approved of the issue 4, which again proposes to permit 4 licenses to various communities, 4 casino licenses across the state. And again, the issue is to would propose to generate over $120 million over annually, and the money would be used to potentially be going towards education and maybe highway road fixes. There's a slew of issues. And speaking with representatives with Driving Arkansas Forward, they tell me that they're pretty optimistic in this race so far, but they are not confident enough yet to fully say that, they've got it in the bag. There's still many more counties to consider for tallying up the votes for them to have a more confident say on this issue. But of course, there's a number of questions from the opponent side of how this will really help some of these already impoverished communities, such as Jefferson County being one of them. Other communities that already have some form of gambling in place. Those are the ones that have been the targets for prosperity. But Driving Arkansas Forward supporters I spoke with earlier, they say that they believe that this will result in a positive, favorable outcome. And for now, we'll toss it back to you guys.
Okay, Zach Briggs reporting for us tonight. Zach, thank you.
Okay, so issue 4 again remains undecided. Issue 2, the voter ID law, and issue 5, the minimum wage hike, both approved by voters tonight. Let's head over to Janelle Lilly and Roby Brock. They have been closely watching these races for us all night tonight.
All right, any surprises, guys? What are your feelings on how things have turned out?
Well, we are joined by Shane Broadway and Rex Nelson, and so far we've just been kind of calling them one by one, but it's really shaken out much like we expected it. At the very beginning of the night, we said the Arkansas Supreme Court race, District 2 and Issue 4 would be the last races called.
And the Little Rock Mayor's race, and that's just kind of how it's all shaped up so far.
Exactly.
I think we've also seen, too, that we expected the Republican tide, the red tide in Arkansas to remain in power. We have seen that up and down the ballot. I don't think anything's gone much unaccording to script.
No surprise there. We're still going to have all 7 of our statewide constitutional officers will be Republicans. Our entire congressional delegation will be, I think, a Republican delegation. We haven't called the 2nd district yet, but I think French Hill is looking very good at this hour.
Yeah, I agree. I think it has gone. There really hadn't been any surprises tonight. There are a couple legislative races that did go one way we predicted earlier, but a lot of them are still out there. A lot of people were still voting. I got a report still voting till 8:30.
Great turnout for midterm.
There, yeah, we have seen some big numbers in the midterms. I'll give the Clark Tucker supporters a little ray of hope right here. French Hill's numbers are down in Faulkner and Saline County from 2014, which was the last midterm he ran in there, and Pulaski County numbers are going to be higher. This race is going to be closer than when I think we're seeing it at 50% reporting right now. But we will see where those numbers come from.
But we're thinking a lot of White County votes are still out.
There
Is that
could
not
be that,
correct?
and there could be some Pulaski County votes that have not come in yet as well.
And the White County could be heavily Republican.
Yeah.
And switching gears to Little Rock Mayor, that was another race that, you know, we predicted at the beginning would likely come into a runoff, and really that's the way we're seeing it shake out right now. Those numbers at the beginning with early voting had a lot wider gap. It's really tightened up here in the last few hours.
Roby's one bold prediction was he thought it might not end up in a runoff.
I also said that it would be that there could be 2 percentage points differentiating first and third place.
I thought there would be 3 people all in the low 30s, and that's exactly what we're seeing.
Rex is a genius. That's all I can say. I mean,
Thank you. I've waited for years for that.
I think the interesting still out there is casinos.
It is.
And really, or the issue for it with casinos, and trying to figure out where those counties are still outstanding.
Yeah, I feel like we've seen this trend line all night. It has hovered in the low to mid 50s.
Again, we haven't called it, but I think casinos going to pass.
I think casinos is going to pass too. So I think casinos is going to pass. I think Courtney Goodson is in good shape on the Supreme Court race. We're getting a lot of votes in. She's got a sizable lead. That's going to be a tough one. I think what is happening in that race is perhaps you've got the name identification with the title on the front of it.
Yeah, Justice
Goodson
when you went ahead and voted. And that's with 62% already reporting in. So that race really doesn't have a lot that it could move. So it really does look like she will likely be the next race called.
I think Supreme Court and casinos will be the next 2 that we probably put in the
I think the Little Rock Mayor's race is going to keep us up the latest tonight to see who makes the runoff.
It may keep you up
Nobody's going to hit
Rex.
40%.
Once I feel like it's not changing too far, I'm going to bed.
Hey, I love this stuff. I love this stuff.
And Rex, you make a good point. That's something we really haven't said. In order for anyone to be the outright winner, you have to reach that 40% mark. So if you have any of the candidates, all of the candidates fall short of that, you are going into a runoff. And with the top 2 vote getters. And so the race to watch then becomes between 2 and 3 as those last few votes are counted and trickle in. If those are close in numbers, that might keep you up all night.
And then the story we chase tomorrow, of course, is does the odd man out endorse one of the 2 that made the runoff?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, let's send it back over to the desk over there with Chris and with Beth.
Okay, guys, thanks. All votes in. Rex is a genius. Right?
We knew that. We knew that already.
We knew that. All right. Stay with us. Channel 7 continues with our extended coverage of this year's midterm elections after this.
Tonight's election coverage is sponsored by the Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, Skycams, sponsored by Middleton Heat and Air.
And we'll be back with our election coverage coming up in just a few minutes. But as you can see, we want to take a quick look at what's going to be going on into the weekend. The big news, colder air coming in. Middleton Skycam right now showing cloudy skies out there and even some showers starting to move across northern Arkansas. And that's going to continue to increase rain chances over the nighttime hours. 56 degrees, pretty cool out there. Showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, not expecting any severe weather by any means. And we'll say goodbye to the mild air that's been with us for the past couple of days because we got much colder air moving in and possibly the first freeze by this weekend, ending the growing season. And before we get there, we've got some periods of showers like we're dealing with tonight into the early morning hours. We'll see a lot of lingering clouds, maybe a few showers early in the morning here in central Arkansas, and then partly cloudy skies by the afternoon. And then another wave of low pressure moves in with another chance of rain Thursday and into Friday early, and then much colder air filtering in for the weekend, but it's looking dry. Very much like fall for sure. Look at the shower activity since 6 o'clock, really been increasing across northern Arkansas. We're dealing with a frontal boundary stalled over Louisiana into the Arklatex, and low pressure is moving out along that boundary and pushing some moisture northward, and that's why the showers are beginning to break out here over northern Arkansas. Primarily just light rain that we're seeing, and well north of the Little Rock area, up around Batesville, over into Stone County, down to Clinton and Van Buren County, and then over the heaviest shower activity just north and south of Interstate 40, moving out of Logan County, approaching Russellville and through the Johnson County area. These are all moving toward the east, northeast, and South Arkansas is pretty much rain-free. From Little Rock southward, not seeing anything going on right now, but that could change as more rain and that low-pressure area develops through the Arklatex and moves through. So showers will be on the increase and maybe an isolated thunderstorm, but we're not expecting any severe weather at all, just a rumble of thunder. A couple of storms may possibly late tonight into the early morning produce a little bit of small hail because there's very cold air aloft. These are the temperatures right now. 56 at Little Rock, 61 at Hot Springs, 52 degrees up in Mountain Home in Baxter County, also at Fayetteville, 55 at Monticello, Pine Bluff at 56, and Helena, West Helena at 50 degrees. So Futurecast has the rain moving in through the morning hours, about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and then rapidly moving on toward the east. Even starting to see a little bit of clearing setting in the afternoon. Then another wave comes in for Wednesday night into Thursday morning, just some scattered showers, and then watch what happens as we move into early Friday. Thursday night into Friday morning. Here comes the frontal boundary, and dare I say it, cold enough for snow from Springfield, Missouri, northward through Missouri. None for us, though. Maybe a quarter to a half an inch of rain total through the noontime hour tomorrow. 51 degrees, mostly cloudy. Showers increase, an isolated thunderstorm. Then tomorrow, showers in the morning, some clearing in the afternoon, and a high around 59 degrees. And a 30% chance of showers, especially late Thursday into early Friday. And temperatures will be downright chilly all the way through the weekend and beyond. Cool fall air is here to stay for a while.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Thanks a lot, Ned. All right, well, stay with us. When we come back, we'll take another look at the Little Rock mayor's race.
Welcome back to our continuing coverage of Election Night 2018, and KATV can now tell you that Arkansas voters have approved Issue 4. That will bring expanded casino gaming to the state of Arkansas. Casinos reportedly to be built in Pope and Jefferson counties, plus gaming expanded at both Oaklawn and Southland Park in West Memphis. Beth, this is an effort that has been undertaken for years in Arkansas. It's always been rejected. Tonight, for the first time, the voters are apparently ready to say yes.
That's right. Our Zach Briggs has been talking with the folks behind this measure, and we want to go to him now. He is live at the Capitol Hotel with reaction. Zach?
Well, guys, certainly a monumental moment for the state of Arkansas, joined by Alex Gray, who's been instrumental in part of this Driving Arkansas Forward campaign. What's the feeling at this moment?
I think we're just excited. I think we're glad that Arkansas voters finally had the chance to vote for a fair, merit-based casino amendment, and they voted for it. So now it will be in our Constitution, and now Arkansas will be able to keep the gaming dollars in state. We'll be able to create thousands of jobs and really boost our economy across the state. So this is an exciting thing for the state of Arkansas.
And is it too early to say whether there are plans in the future for another similar campaign to expand even more with the casinos, or was that never the intention in the first place?
I really don't think there will be any future plans to expand gaming. I think that what we have here is each quadrant of the state is going to have an opportunity to have a casino and a resort casino. And so we wanted to make sure that these casinos would not be a roadside casino, but would be destination casinos. And that's what you're going to see. So I don't anticipate that there will be any appetite for future casino amendments.
And opponents argue that perhaps Issue 4 could result in degrading the quality of life for folks, gambling addiction, degrading even further already impoverished communities, Jefferson County being one example, arguably. What can you tell Arkansas voters to ensure that this issue will perhaps bring some money to these communities, therefore helping them out overall?
Yeah. I think it's our responsibility now to prove the opposition wrong. This campaign was never about trying to pull one over on anybody. This campaign was about creating economic opportunity for the state of Arkansas. This was about providing job opportunities for impoverished people, and so we're excited to see our message executed, and that's what I think that's what the supporters are most excited about.
You guys are celebrating, certainly. What's the next step for you?
Well, the next step is probably to get some rest, get the kids ready for school in the morning, and, we'll work with the Racing Commission and get the rules and regulations going, and, we're excited.
All right, Alex, thank you so much. Again, 53% of Arkansans showing their support for casino gambling here in the state of Arkansas. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Okay. Zach Briggs for us with the latest on Issue 4.
Yep. All right, stay with us. When we come back, we'll have the very latest numbers on the race for Little Rock mayor. Welcome back to our extended coverage of the midterm elections here in Arkansas. This Little Rock mayor's race has been a fun one to watch tonight, and it is so close, and the numbers keep changing. Let's go ahead and take a look at the latest numbers that we have on the race for Little Rock mayor. Frank Scott Jr. with 34% of the vote now, Baker Curris with 31%, and Warwick Sabin with 30%.
That is with 85% of precincts reporting, it looks like. Let's check in with the candidates. Our Shelby Rose is standing by with the former superintendent of schools in the Little Rock School District, Baker Curris, at his campaign. They are at Cajun's Wharf now. Shelby?
Yeah, Chris and Beth, I keep refreshing the Pulaski County election page just to see when this 21 precincts will kind of come in and we can determine this race. And I'm joined with Baker Curris right now. We've been here for about 3.5 hours now. So you've been here about 3.5 hours. What are you kind of feeling leading up into these final precincts reporting?
Well, I'm optimistic. It's a great race. It's really a fun evening, and we're hopeful, optimistic, and hope we get to play on.
And so, you've been in the lead and you've not been in the lead. You've been in the lead, you've not been in the lead. Is this kind of just a roller coaster of emotions for you?
Not really. We've only been in this race about 5 months. Everybody else has been running for almost 2 years. And with our team, we're in the hunt after 5 months. They've been running for a long, long time. I'm so proud of our team, I don't know what to tell you. And I'm hoping we make the runoff, and if we do, we'll run really hard. So I'm very optimistic.
Okay, perfect. Well, yeah, we're just going to keep looking at these numbers, and hopefully those 21 precincts will report soon. And once they do, we will get you guys those numbers. Back to you guys in the studio.
Okay, Shelby Rose with the candidate for us tonight at Cajun's Wharf. We're hopeful, we're optimistic, and we hope to get to play on. I think everybody feels that way in this race tonight. That's Baker Curris.
Someone else who's been watching those numbers closely, no doubt, is Warwick Sabin, and we're told that he has made his way to his watch party at Sticky Fingers in the River Market, and that's where we find Channel 7's Nick Popham tonight. Nick?
Beth, Chris, that's right. We're here at Sticky Fingers, and finally you can hear the eruption of the crowd because Warwick Sabin, he's finally here at his watch party. Warwick, thank you so much for talking with us tonight. How are you feeling right now?
Well, I'm feeling still optimistic. It's a close race. There's still some votes to count, but I'll tell you, this has been a really great campaign with excellent candidates, a great dialogue for the city, and I'm great with whatever result we end up with.
And that's what we've been talking about a lot, is how much of a civil race this has been. Really cordial throughout all the candidates as you guys have been competing. And like you said, still a very narrow race right now.
It is. And we kind of expected that. This has been a 5-way race. We obviously have 3 leading candidates. Everybody's been working really hard every day. So, we'll see how it all turns out.
Tell me about the support that you have right now. This group that's here, they've been applauding, they've been energetic throughout the entire night. What's that mean to you to have a group like this here?
Well, these are my good friends, and you can't do a campaign with this kind of support. And what's been really cool about it, too, is that you discover people who you didn't even know existed, who support you in the end and become some of your closest friends. So this has been a great experience.
I saw you looking over at the numbers on the screen right before we were going on. Kind of your thoughts right now when you see the numbers?
Well, they've been kind of fluid. They've been going back and forth all night. It's been interesting to watch. Again, a close race. The city has been so engaged in this conversation. We have a lot of people participating. I'm glad to see the numbers actually as high as they are for the turnout. So it's a good thing for the city no matter what.
Mr. Sabin, thank you so much. I really appreciate you talking with me. We'll be updating you continuously throughout the night. Hearing from Mr. Sabin, I'm sure a little bit later as well. For now, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
Okay, Nick Popham reporting for us tonight. Thanks a lot.
Okay, this is a 5-person race, but of course 3 are in a position to get into this runoff. The third is Frank Scott Jr. He is having his watch party tonight at the Copper Grill here in downtown Little Rock. Our Kayla Lafferty has been with the Scott campaign throughout the night, and she joins us now with the latest from there. Kayla.
Thank you, Chris and Beth. So throughout this entire night, the numbers have kind of been all over the board. No matter what the numbers were looking like, Frank Scott Jr. supporters here have not lost any energy. They've still been extremely positive, supporting their candidate today as we're, coming to the end of this election. It looks like it's going to be going into a runoff. A lot of people are saying this isn't necessarily a bad thing. It gives him one more shot to get out there and get some of these votes that his supporters here are hoping for. But this race is extremely close. Everyone here has been watching the numbers. When the last set of numbers just came in about 15 or 20 minutes ago, when they saw that he was leading by 34%, so the next highest is 31%, it exploded. Everyone in here was screaming and excited. The energy, like I said, has not changed at all throughout the entire night. He did only stop by very briefly. He said he's trying to stay focused on these numbers and keep his mind thinking positively throughout the rest of the night tonight. He asked for more positive support from his supporters moving into the rest of tonight and potentially this runoff election. But we're going to keep you guys updated as the numbers continue to come through tonight. But for now, we'll send it back to you, Chris and Beth.
Okay, Kayla Lafferty for us with the campaign of Frank Scott Jr., a bank executive, a former member of the State Highway Commission, a former aide to Governor Mike Beebe, and hoping to become the next mayor of the city of Little Rock.
We'll have to wait a little bit longer to see if that happens. All right, we're going to take a break and we'll be back right after this.
Welcome back. We have been watching the numbers and analyzing them very closely. We have 2 races to call right now. It took us till 10:45 p.m., Roby, but we finally have enough numbers to make us feel confident.
We said that these 2 races, the Supreme Court and Congressional District 2, would be late in the night calls for us. Let's go to the Supreme Court. Courtney Goodson looks like she will be reelected to the Supreme Court over David Sterling, who is challenging her. We've got enough votes in now, well over 60-something% statewide. She's got almost a 10-point lead in there. I just don't see those numbers changing, Rex.
No, I don't see them changing at all. This was a race in which there was a lot of money spent, much of it coming from outside the state. We had seen that before in the state, and Courtney Goodson keeps dodging those bullets, it seems like, election after election.
This is an 8-year term.
It is, and it's interesting. Last year when she ran, or last time when she ran for Chief Justice, all that outside money, she didn't win. Tonight she does.
Yeah, maybe people have been a little inoculated to it, number one, and number two, she still had a title in front of her name, and that was very beneficial, whereas Judge Kemp, who beat her 2 years ago, had a title in front of his name, too.
Absolutely. But this time, the outside money, as you said, did not make the difference in the race.
The next race that we are ready to make our final prediction in, with 93% in, we are predicting that French Hill will be the winner in the 2nd Congressional District.
He has got an 8-point lead at this point with 93% reporting. I just do not see these numbers changing.
It's tough, and you don't know where those outstanding numbers are, would come from, but I think it would be tough for Clark Tucker to overcome that right now.
This is now a Republican district, and I think that Clark Tucker was as good a candidate as the Democrats could have possibly fielded in this district. But it is now very much a Republican district. He would have had to have overwhelming margins in Pulaski County. Tucker carried Pulaski County, but they were not overwhelming.
All right. I think we're going to go to Maureen Glisovic, who is...
She is standing by at the French Hill party right now. Maureen.
So the crowd has died down a little bit, but it appears that, French Hill and his campaign are starting to make their way downstairs. And actually, Republican Party Chairman right now is introducing Congressman French Hill. I'll go ahead and step out of the way for that.
Come on up. Come on up. The hour is late. Hey, I can't even see. Where am I throwing it to? Oh. Yeah. I have never mind. Bad joke. We're waiting. We're waiting. We're doing great. Great night. Arkansas showing the nation again that we're a great red state. Amen. Y'all move on in a little bit. Get on up here. Come on up here. There you go. Oh, that's scary. Not bad. It's a good scare. It's a good scare, okay? Have y'all enjoyed this evening? Isn't it good that we all come together and we're at the same place? Yeah. How many of y'all are French Hill supporters? All right. French Hill. French Hill. Okay, it's my pleasure to introduce the congressman from the 2nd District of Arkansas, Congressman French Hill. Thank you very much. We don't want to rush into anything tonight. Thank you all so much. Come over here, honey. We are so grateful to everybody that's here tonight and for all the people that have worked so hard on this campaign. It really, really means the world to Martha and me and our family. But we have to give thanks first to the man above. We appreciate the divine providence that's put his hand on us and urged us to serve the people of Arkansas. But I do have to thank the temporal leaders here. I can't do anything but start with my dear friend and great campaign chairman and remarkable candidate, Judith Goodson. And every campaign has to have a leader. There is no more challenging job, and I want to thank John Grove for being a great campaign leader. Troop 30 Eagle Scout, though. And we had terrific people working every day for us, like Terry Fiddler in Conway and Faulkner County. And I had the best district chairman of any congressman in the state was Sheila Beck from Conway County. Come on up. You need to be up here. But every day the wheels have to work on a campaign, and so Missy Rickles, Kathy Lanier, Polly Rand, Hunter Sadler, another great Troop 30 Eagle Scout. Great jobs all. I can't thank you enough. And what a great RPA staff we had in this cycle. Thank you, Doyle, Sarah Jo. Thank Alex Beard and Ross Grant for their work in our counties to get out the vote. And this was, if there was a year of getting out the vote, this was the year of getting out the vote. So for the past several months, I think I've made the case successfully.
Congressman French Hill, he has won his re-election bid to the 2nd Congressional District. And we want to report right now, we have some new numbers from Pulaski County. Tell us about these.
All right, 100% reporting from Pulaski County. That is where the Little Rock mayor's race, all of the votes are in those Pulaski County precincts right there. Frank Scott, 37.11%. He's in first place. Baker Curris, 29.03%. Second place, Warwick Sabin, 28.25%. Tolliver, 2.98%. Schwartz, 2.63%. There are, however, still 1,455 absentee ballots that have not been returned to Pulaski County yet. We don't know how many of those might impact the Little Rock mayor's race. Could that change second and third place? We will have to see.
I think we're set. I just don't see the absentee ballots being any less split than the regular election has been split.
Yeah. That's absolutely true.
I mean, I think if this is right, this is going to hold. We're looking at a Frank Scott Baker Curris runoff in 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
All right, so that will be something to keep the city energized.
This has been a heck of a race. I mean, the whole state's watching.
It really has.
I spoke about it in Rogers the other day, and several people in Rogers said they'd made donations in the Little Rock mayor's race.
And so I think one of the things that will come down to this now is we will have to see here in these waning hours of Election Day on Tuesday, November 6th, we'll have to see if we hear from any of the three candidates. And particularly if it turns out that Warwick Sabin is the third place candidate, which it looks like he is, does he throw his support to one of the other two, or does he say, I let my voters choose whatever they want to do?
Yeah, that's interesting. You know, we have Matt Mershon also standing by as we just called the second congressional race, but he's over there with the Clark Tucker campaign, and he's standing by in that camp. Clark actually currently speaking right now to his supporters.
Us well over the next 2 years, and that's the sentiments that I expressed to him, and I want to wish him and his family and his campaign team the absolute best. And I really just want to take a few minutes, although it'll be impossible for me to put it into words, to say thank you and talk about what this campaign was about for just a few minutes. Just looking out here tonight, I mean, this is incredible. It's 5 minutes until 11, and we still have a full room here. There's no way I could possibly thank everybody. I've got to single out a few people in particular. I'm going to start with the people who made me who I am and are there with me every step of the way, and that's my parents, Rhett and Becky Tucker. My sister Catherine and her husband Gabe poured so much into this campaign. And the superstar of the entire show, my grandmother Nana. But I had aunts, uncles, cousins. This has been a family affair.
And you are listening right there to a concession speech by Clark Tucker. Hard-fought race, certainly. He wished the best of luck to now his congressman, French Hill.
Yep. I think we have something happening in the mayor's race. Warwick Sabin speaking to his crowd of supporters.
Tim, Faith, Gloria, Solani. I could go on and on. I'm sure there are more people out here, Joshua. I really appreciate y'all so much. I mean, you have put in countless hours at the headquarters, knocking doors with me, making phone calls, doing everything that anybody could ever expect in a campaign like this. And it's because of you that we're able to do everything. So again, I want to thank you for giving of your time to be part of this. And then there are the volunteers. I mean, again, all of you have been those volunteers. You're my friends, of course, first and foremost, but all of you have put time into this effort. It's been pretty incredible to know the kind of friends that I have. You know, some of you I've known for, over 2 decades, and some of you I just got to know on this campaign. And it's really, again, humbling and amazing to have people who are willing to give so much to an effort like this. And I very much recognize it's not so much about me as it is about your belief in the potential of Little Rock and how much better this city can be. But again, I appreciate you putting your time and effort into this campaign because I think it made a big difference. So thank you. Thank you. Well, I love you too. I really, really, really do.
And you are just listening right now to Warwick Sabin. He got 3rd place in the highly contested mayoral race right there. We weren't sure if there was going to be a concession speech tonight because there are still some absentee ballots out there, but it looks like he has enough confidence in the numbers.
Apparently
like they
the
were
difference
going to.
in the vote total is 171 votes between Curris and Sabin.
Wow. And speaking of right now, Baker Curris is talking to our reporter Shelby Rose.
Really enjoyed everything we did together. I'm looking forward to working with the people in this town, win or lose. I'm gratified that we've got such a great city.
Was this outcome something you expected?
Well, I didn't know what to expect. I'm new at this. I'm not a career politician. I don't have a lot of experience. I just know this, that people who care and work together can accomplish great things. I've done it before, and I want to do it again.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And you are just listening right now to Shelby Rose interview with Baker Curris. He is in the runoff election, which will be held in 3 weeks. So we have Thanksgiving, and then following that,
the following Tuesday.
Let's get over to the Frank Scott campaign and see what the front runner has to say. I think it's time for Frank Scott to speak at some point in time.
Fascinating to hear what he might have to say.
I think we have a commercial break to take. Is that true?
We're going to take a break, and we'll see
us.
if we can get Frank Scott as well. And right now we are gathering some last-minute news. Just to recap what's happened in the last few minutes, it has been a whirlwind of results in a very short period of time. Rex, what does this mean to you? What do you think, seeing these results coming in so quickly at the end?
Well, I mean, everybody was sitting on pins and needles at all three of those headquarters. We knew this was going to break very closely. I had people texting me today, as I know you all did, saying, what two are going to be in the runoff? And I said, I can't even begin to tell you. That's how close this is, and it looks like it is shaking out now to Frank Scott and Baker Curris, as we've heard Warwick Saban come on and concede at this point.
I want to go back to our discussion about this earlier. I did tell you that a candidate might push 40%, and Frank Scott leaped to a big lead there at 37%.
I think you said, though, you thought there might be one without a runoff. Depends on what the meaning of is, Roby.
I do want to say something about Warwick Saban, since
real quick,
the other
we need
two
to go
are
to
gonna
Caleb.
move. Okay.
Yeah, we got Frank Scott with us. We'll come back to you on this. All right, Caleb, we're going to pick up with you with Frank Scott Jr.
Hey, thanks so much, guys, for sending it over to me. I just grabbed Mr. Scott. You just gave a very passionate speech to all your supporters here tonight at Copper Grill. How are you feeling in this moment?
I'm excited. I'm encouraged. I'm humbled. I'm grateful. I'm emotional, and I'm intense right now. It's an emotional roller coaster, but the great thing is we live in a great city, and I want to unify this city. I want to move us from being disconnected to connected. That's our internal why. That's what we started out with our exploratory committee on September the 12th of 2017. We've been sharing that, and that's what we want to do. That's what's helped us to lead in early voting. That's what's helped us to lead on Election Day. The time is now for Little Rock to change for the better. And I ask anyone that's been undecided, if you did not vote for me, please consider to vote for me. If you want to unify this city, the time is now.
And one of the big things you were talking about in your speech was the next 30 days of this runoff election. What do you have to say to our viewers at home?
I'm going to work just like we started this race. We've knocked on 20,000 doors. We've called 65,000 people. We're going to continue to do that same formula because we want to unify this city. If you want to unify this city, Frank Scott Jr. is your candidate.
Perfect. And what are you most looking forward to for the next 30 days of this runoff election?
Getting back on the doors tomorrow morning, afternoon.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us, and good luck through the rest of the next 30 days. It's going to be a pretty intense run there, so thank you. Okay, well, I will send it back to you guys in the studio.
Okay. Our Kayla Lafferty for us with Frank Scott Jr., who, as you heard, will meet Baker Curris in a runoff to determine who will be the next mayor of Little Rock on Tuesday, November 27th. It is going to be a fun couple of weeks as that race unfolds.
Three great candidates, though.
No doubt about it.
It's definitely been a fun race to watch. All right, you heard Roby and Janelle talk about calling the race for the 2nd Congressional District just a little while ago for Republican French Hill. Irene Glisovic is at Embassy Suites. She's been waiting on Congressman Hill to come down and speak with her, and he's with her right now. Maureen?
Hey, good evening, guys. So finally we've heard his acceptance speech, and so long night for you, but a good night.
It was a great night. People have worked hard on this campaign. We've listened to the citizens, and I think the American people and people in Arkansas spoke. We are better off than we were 2 years ago on the economy, national security, service for our veterans, activities for our whole nation. So I was pleased with the result.
It was a little tight, you know, at some points of the night, and then we started getting more numbers coming in. What were your thoughts going through that?
Well, from the early vote, I was very pleased with the early vote I saw across the basis, Pulaski County and the out counties, that our hard work in talking to citizens in those counties would pay off, and that the message that we are better off than we were 2 years ago would carry the day. I think it did, and I'm proud to serve the people of Central Arkansas as their congressman. I'm humbled by that work. But after 25 years in business here, I love the opportunity to serve in public service.
And one more question before I let you go. You know, what can Arkansans expect from you here as you move forward into the second term?
Well, I've worked very hard in my first 2 terms on being bipartisan. I have a bipartisan set of dinners I do with Democrats and Republicans to work on ways to improve the Financial Services Committee. All the bills I've passed and been signed into law, all 4 of them, have had strong bipartisan support. So I go into the new year looking for bipartisan solutions to some of our toughest situations: a broken immigration system, a healthcare system that still doesn't work for every American. So we'll be working on those priorities.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. You have a good night. And so we finally all heard here from Congressman French Hill. He's got big plans ahead, and for now we'll go ahead and send it back to you.
Okay, Maureen Glisovic reporting live at Embassy Suites for us tonight. Thanks a lot.
We will take one final break and come back and wrap up the night right after this.